Hey guys, I'm Shelby. Welcome back to my channel, Mindful Pantry. So I just got my CSA box for the week, and I figured that this week, instead of just doing a blog post where I show you guys the fruits and veg that I got, I am going to show you how to actually store a couple of these. There's nothing more depressing than having to throw away produce that was like locally grown. So I try to do a lot of work up front so that things stay better longer and have more time to use them. I actually have some carrots in the fridge from several boxes ago, but because of how I'm storing them, they are still good and ready to use. So let's go ahead and I'll just show you guys what I got first and then getting it all ready for its short life in the fridge. And I'm just drinking a little bit of coffee. All right, so first things first. Sourdough. Yeah, a round of sourdough pretty much every week. So bread I usually store like in a bread bag that I have like on top of the fridge, but sourdough actually has like a label on it that tells you to keep it refrigerated. So I keep it refrigerated because if you leave it out, it will start to grow mold within a week. But always get like a slice the first day of sourdough, you know, when it's freshly made before it goes in the fridge, because after it goes in the fridge, every time after you're gonna have to toast it. All right. So first things first, arugula. So this is arugula or rocket. For this guy, I'm actually gonna keep it stored in this container because I might as well. Usually if it came in like a bag or something like that, I would change how I stored it, but I am just going to take it out of here, put a damp paper towel on the bottom and a damp one on the top, and then seal it back in here. And you'll see I actually don't use paper towels because I don't buy paper towels, but I'm gonna put damp cloths in here to help maintain the humidity. Since it's in this container, I'm just gonna go ahead and use this container and then make sure I recycle it once I do. My CSA box doesn't always use plastic like this, but if they do, try to use it for a couple of uses. Like if you then go to a farmer's market and buy loose greens, this is a great way to just go ahead and store them in your fridge. All right, Swiss chard. So this is a beautiful bunch. I think this is just a red chard because it doesn't really look rainbow to me. With this guy and most greens, I actually do have a bag that my sister bought me where you can store greens inside the bag. You just wet the whole bag. But I know a lot of people aren't gonna have that. So I'm just gonna show you how I used to store these before I got that snazzy bag, which I will link below for you guys. These greens I am actually just going to rinse and let dry, and then I'm gonna wrap them up in a cloth, and then I'm gonna store them in the I always wanna call it like a humidity drawer. I don't really know if that's what it's called, the drawer where the crisper drawer for the vegetables. Greens especially, you really wanna make sure that they're maintaining that nice humidity. That's why with the arugula, I'm also gonna use the cloths in there to keep everything a little bit more, not wet, you don't want the greens themselves to be wet, but you want the environment that they're in to be humid. So I'm gonna do the same thing with these greens. Greens probably require like the most work, I feel like, of anything before you store it. But if you store it correctly, it lasts so long. And if you don't store it properly, they'll wilt in like a day if you just like throw these into the fridge. So here is one lemon. This is actually, God, what was the name? Let me grab my phone. This was that's like a seedless lemon, I think. It is a hardy seedless lemon. So it was locally grown. I just figured I would try it out, especially since it was seedless and just see. Lemons, it's like a lot of citrus, I actually store in the fridge. I feel like if I leave it out, it gets soft, it gets moldy. What you can do though, if you feel like they're not as juicy as when they're room temperature, keep your citrus stored in the refrigerator. I honestly just keep them in a bowl because I don't have any room in the crisper drawer. That's what I have to do with apples too. I just store these in the fridge, and then if you have like a recipe that you know you're gonna be making, maybe using this lemon, and you wanna get the most that you can out of it, just leave it out at room temperature the day that you're gonna use it, or even a couple hours before, and then it will get warmer and it will feel like it gets a little bit more juice out of it. But I feel like there are a lot of myths about lemons, like rolling them and keeping them out. That aren't like actually true. So store your citrus in the fridge and then take it out as you need it. Oh, cantaloupe. All right, cantaloupe. Super excited that it's almost summer because I absolutely love melon, and this is the season of melon with cantaloupe. I'm gonna store this out at room temperature for just a couple days, maybe like 2 days, maybe 3 days, just to let it ripen a little bit, and then I'm gonna store it in the fridge. If you leave this out, you'll notice it will start to get like dimpled skin. It doesn't necessarily mean that the melon itself inside has gone bad, but you need to eat it pretty quickly, and yeah, we're gonna enter the fridge. Watermelon you can leave out way longer than you can leave out cantaloupe. I even feel like honeydew melon you can leave out a little bit longer, but it's way better when it's been stored in the fridge anyways, because then it's so cold when you actually eat it. I actually have one in the fridge right now. Left that one out maybe a couple days too long. We're gonna cut it open and see if it looks good. All right, sunflower sprouts. I actually got an email from my CSA this morning saying that the sunflower sprouts aren't looking the best, and I would agree with that. They're kind of browning, and some of them like are already starting to get a little bit slimy, so these maybe were not stored properly, or I'm not really sure. So with these, I am actually just going to salvage what I can tonight and maybe make like a hummus sandwich and just put some of these sunflower sprouts on that. Do you see that elbow? Slime. Normally these though, I would just store in this container that they came in. Snow peas. So these snow peas, they actually have even instructions on them. It says rinse, dry, and refrigerate upon arrival. Cook or freeze within 3 days for best. So I would agree with that. You definitely need to make sure you're eating peas sooner rather than later, and green beans, because they'll start to get like browning and they'll also dry out. But here are these beautiful snow peas. Hoping this is catching this. Who knows? So anyway, so I'm just gonna rinse and pat these dry. Make sure they're dry before they go into the fridge, because that is just a recipe for everything to decay. And then the last thing I have in here are 2 types of potatoes. So I have a couple of russet potatoes, these guys. I have a bunch of these purple creamer tomatoes. And there are like a ton in here. Some of them are like super tiny and some are huge. Potatoes. I live in Florida. It is very humid here, and I find that even when I store potatoes at room temperature in a dark place, they still sprout. So my fridge is actually set at like 40 degrees because I find that it like will start to freeze stuff that's on the top shelf, so I have to increase it to 40. So I'm actually gonna try something new, and I'll have to report back and see how it works. But I'm actually gonna store these in the fridge because I read that you can store potatoes at 40 degrees without them sprouting. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. One of the most important things I would say with potatoes, especially if you live in a place where you can store them at room temperature, don't store them with onions, because that's just gonna help promote them to sprout. But with potatoes, I actually rinse and scrub and dry them now, and then I'm gonna put them in the fridge just to make sure I get all the dirt and grime off, because that will also help promote sprouting. And then I'll just store them in the fridge, probably in a bowl, because like I said, I don't have any more room in the crisper drawer. It's usually always full. I am gonna go ahead and get all this stuff prepped and into the fridge. And this lemon, I'm just gonna add to my citrus bowl. And I just keep it all together in the fridge. And then while I'm here, I might as well just grab this cantaloupe, because we're gonna cut this baby open. I have the Swiss chard in water soaking, and then I'm just gonna put it in there for a couple seconds to rinse it, and then I'm gonna go ahead and pop it in my salad spinner and then dry it off really well. I try not to completely overload the salad spinner with greens though when I spin it, just so I can make sure that they actually get dry. If you pack it full, then there's not any space for any of the water to drip away from it. So I'm just gonna do this in little batches at a time, and then I'm gonna lay it out on one of my white rags, which I'll show you. The chard is just gonna go ahead and dry on this towel here. And then I added arugula or rocket to the same water that I just soak the chard in, and we're just gonna do the same process here, and then add the moist towels to the little container, which I kept, and it's right here, and we'll just refill this guy. The arugula I have just laying here, just like the chard, and I'm just gonna let them both kind of dry at room temp, and then I'll show you how I actually store them after. In the meantime, I have the potatoes, and these guys are still soaking in the same water that I soaked the chard and the arugula in, because I'm just gonna about to scrub off the dirt anyways, then I can rinse them dry, and then I'm gonna wipe them dry. So you can use this little bit of water for all of this. So saving money, saving water, saving produce. I'm just gonna use this guy. I never had the correct base. I think I like got this from my mom or my sister when they did like a Grove order, but I didn't actually have the right base for this. So I just use this as like my vegetable scrubber. So works pretty well. So I'm just gonna scrub off the potatoes and then I will dry them. And then here I'm just gonna wrap the chard now up in this towel. And I'll just try to like layer them back and forth a little bit too, so that it actually like lays a little bit flatter. If you're buying your green from the store, you know, they'll usually come with like the like twist tie, that yellow twist tie around it, especially like kale and stuff, or rubber band, which is what I'm gonna use. But I just go ahead and put that back on. But if you do have one of the little twist ties from the grocery store, they usually say like red kale, green kale, or whatever it is, or collards, and you can just put that back on, and then you also know what you actually wrapped up in your towel, because that's definitely something that can happen, is that you're gonna forget what's in this towel. Sometimes I'll put a little bit of masking tape on it, but I usually just nowadays kind of know what I have. A rubber band, and then I'm just rubber banding it in the center to kind of just keep it closed. And this is just gonna go in my fridge. It's kind of long, so I'll see if I can kind of like bend it into the crisper drawer. But if I can't bend it in the crisper drawer, I'll probably just put it in the bin at the bottom where I keep it the coldest. So had to sandwich it in, but it's in there. All right, guys, and then now for the arugula. I am going to take these little guys. And they are actually unpaper towels from the Etsy shop, Marley's Monsters. So I'm actually gonna use those in place of paper towels inside of the plastic bin that the arugula came in. I'm gonna take this bigger unpaper towel, and I'll go ahead and just lay it in the bottom of the plastic bin, like that. And then I have this spray bottle of water. I'm just gonna mist. All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and just put the arugula back in the container. And the arugula is nice and dry now, especially after I spun it in the salad spinner, and then I also laid it out to air dry on the towel. So once the arugula is in there, I'm gonna take the other paper towel, and I'm gonna put it right on top. And then we'll go ahead and mist this guy. And then I'll just put the lid back on. Ooh, maybe I'm upside down. All right, so hopefully then these are gonna stay a little bit better in the fridge. Trying this out, I'll let you guys know how it goes, because I haven't tried it in this particular way yet. I'm gonna pop this in the fridge, and then I think the only thing left to do is pat the snow peas dry. Oh, and cut up the cantaloupe. We'll have to cut up the cantaloupe for sure. I think it should still be good. I mean, this one doesn't have any super bad divots. You can just see a couple. One right there, one right there. But overall looks pretty good, so this will probably be a pretty good cantaloupe. All right, so let's cut this baby open. Ah, perfection. Look at that. These look perfect. If it was bad, you would start to see like bruising and stuff, like right around the edges and stuff, but this honestly looks pretty perfect. I'm just gonna scoop the seeds out. Just like that. And let's just it was perfect. Couldn't tell. When Kennelin's bad, it almost gets like a high-pitched taste to it. This is perfect. If I had let it go any more days, it probably wouldn't have been great. So this is absolutely a perfect cantaloupe. Store your produce correctly and it will last so much longer and taste so much more delicious. So thank you for watching. I hope that you learned something, that this was interesting to you. And if you like this video, then give it a thumbs up and let me know if you want me to continue making content like this. All right, thanks for watching, guys. See you later.